We're going to now do exercise 15.1. First thing I'm going to do is make a backup, just because we're going to change the actual code, and a backup is always good. So I'm going to copy these two files and put them here as backup. The first thing it asks us to do is to review the program, which is always a very good first step. Before you make any changes to anything, it is very important to review those changes. Okay, we can see up here at the top there's import, so from objects, which would be this other bit of Python code where we have some classes defined. We're pulling in product, book, and movie objects. So if we go down to the main, and right here is where when we run it, it's going to start. It's going to basically look for the double underscore name, double underscore equals double underscore main, double underscore, and when it does that, it's going to run here. It's going to do some printing. Looks like it's going to make a tuple called products, and in there it's going to use these objects that we imported. There's a product, a book, and a movie. We could see this probably calling the constructor for them. There's a show products, which would be a function which takes this tuple and does some printing of it. And it takes an inner product number, a list, and goes through here. Let's look at the actual things that get imported, the various classes. We have a product class, has a name, price, discount percent. Let's see, then we have a book. Which is a subclass of product, and a movie, which is another subclass of product. Has slightly different things are done in them in terms of methods. The get description, when we have one of these, is overwritten to show different things based on whether it's a book. We will get a description one way, but if it's a movie, we will get a description another way. So we have the superclass and then two subclasses of that. Okay. Let's before we start any coding, let's just run it. I think we kind of have a lay of the land. We kind of can see what it's going to do, but let's actually run it. See if we can flesh out any other things. Come in here. I'm gonna go for number 3, the Holy Grail, and it displays some information based on that. So I'm just going to shut that down, and we're going to look at the first thing it wants us to do. it says in the movie class, add an attribute named format that stores the format of the product. Then it goes, for example, the format could be DVD, streaming, and so on. Okay, so let's shut this down. I guess we just open a couple here. Okay, so let's go in here. And it wants us to first go into movie class. We read a little ahead. It looks like it also wants us to then do that to books. So in the movie class, we see that it wants to add a format. So we're going to add a format. Put it at a default. And let's see, we're going to have it here. And that should be good for adding that there. When I did that to book, I kind of reversed order. Let's go ahead and do that in movie, which was the first place that really asked us to do it. So let's put this there, and here. I think that's going to cover it within the classes itself. Looking at that, it wants us to also modify the code that displays the movie object, so it displays the format on a separate line after the year of the movie. And it wants to kind of follow suit with this stuff, with the changes with books. So we're going to save this for now, shut it down, and we're back to here. Okay. So now we know after year we can add a format, and we're going to say DVD. Here we can now knock that out of the name. So let's remove that from the name. Okay. So we have Holy Grail, and we in addition to that, we movie, they had us say we added it to book. Let's look here and see what they say we could throw for that. They said formats such as paperback or ebook. Okay, so let's go here and let's give it a good format, ebook. Okay, so we have ebook, and that's looking nice, but they also mentioned that we need to print it slightly different. So let's figure out where we actually print it. It should be under the show product, and let's go to the movie. So we have a year, a discount price, and modify code so it displays the movie object so that the format is on a separate line after the year of the movie. Okay, so let's just copy this line down here. Okay, so this is year, and let's put format here. this here. Let's go. Format. And we also did the same with the book, or let's see if it wants us to print it. But format such as ebook. It doesn't say anything about printing. It says for the movie to do that, but that will repeat steps 3 and 4 for the book class. Okay, and okay, so I guess maybe it wants us to also do it for the book. Doesn't quite spell it out exactly, but it says repeat 3 and 4, so I figure it will not hurt. So let's go over to book. And that's looking good. Save. Let's run it. Oh, we have a issue here. Looks like possibly with our object. We're calling it a book. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's saying that pop in there, it takes 1 to 4 positional arguments, but 5 were given. So we're a little off over here in the objects. So let's take another look and see what we can do to fix our situation. Okay. Format. And then we have format down here. Book. We have format and format. That looking fairly good. Looks like it should have grabbed that in there and did something with it. Okay, so if I look over here, I can see what we left out. And in the product class, we're going to have that. Another thing that I could see by looking at this that better add so it doesn't burn us. Here is the actual format. As we threw in the parameters for it, but we really never set it up as a true attribute. Okay, so we're gonna put that, and we have to do the same here for the movie. Okay, so let's do this, and this should get us to a position where we could, maybe actually run and print some of the stuff. Okay, so we're going to pull it back in here again, and we're going to run and look a little better already. See what we get here, and let's go for the Holy Grail. Okay, I have that printed out. We might want to do a little moving over here eventually to line it up, before this is handed in. And we're saying no, well, we better test some first. We did a movie. Let's do a book. Enter product number. And we did 2, and it looks like we're about the same place with that. It works. Needs to be maybe spaced a little better, but it does work. So let's get to working on the next part, and see what they want us to do. Flip page and see what they want us to do. Oh, they want us to add a album class in the objects module. Add a class called album that inherits the product class. The album class should add 2 attributes, one for storing artists and another for storing format. Okay, so let's close this and let's go to the objects. Okay, so we have a book and a movie. So let's do a little cheating or copying. We want to definitely, if we can, not have to rewrite a lot of things. I want to move that down, space it better. We're going to change from movie to album. Okay, we're still gonna have it subclass of product. Okay, self, price, discount, percentage, and instead of year they wanted artist. So the default's going to be a little different, not just 0. We need to have a character. Let me see if we can widen this. It's kind of hard to run out of room here. There we go. That should be better. Okay, so we have artist. Okay, so we're going to have to change year because album doesn't have year. Although it could. It seems like it is a valid thing to add, but we've been asked to add artist. Okay, and then the other one is format itself. So that is what we need to add. Now, does it say anything about which albums we should add? Let's go back to the product viewer and make some changes here. So let's save this. So we're going to open the product viewer again. And let's try to add an album to this. Take this down here. And we're going to go album. And what album we're going to pick up today. Do Santana. And we're gonna buy it for a price of, let's see, $12.99. Discount price will be 0. And the artist of Santana album is Santana. Okay. And format, it's going to be stream. We just kind of stream it. And close that off. Okay, so it looks like we closed the tuple off. Looks good. So now we have an album there. We might have to do some extra code here. Okay. So up here where we have the show product, we really need to be able to there we go. Do the same for the album. Let's make sure we have everything lined up. So if album product artist and format. Okay, so we have artist there. We can leave format there. I'm gonna push that in a little bit. As if we recall, we were pushed out and didn't quite look right. So that may fix our problem with the format of format. So let's save and take a run. And it says no way. Invalid syntax. It looks like we forgot a comma. So let's put in the comma. It's starting to look a little better. And we got a little further this time, but it says album not defined. Okay. Let's look over here. Now that we have a new object that we're pulling in, album, we're going to have to add it. Because even though we created it, we never actually imported it. So for the from, objects, import, product, book, movie, and now our new one, album. Okay. So now we should have it. And we still have some issues, but we will be able to track this down here. Album object has no attribute here, so in the description it's saying we have no year, which is true. We didn't add year, so let's look at the album's get description. We're gonna have to make some changes, so we're gonna save this, get out of here, and we're just gonna write this off on the trials and tribulations of copy and paste. We copied it, it saved us immense amounts of time, but it had year here. So let's use artist because that's something we collect. So we're going to change this to artist. And if you look here, we're going to want to take this off of here, because that's a function to convert a integer to a string, and the artist is already a string, we don't need it. So save. Looking good. Let's go back in here. And I opened it up with another IDE. Let's stick with idle. Okay. Now in here we can now actually run it again, and hey, this is looking good. So let's try Santana. And we have another issue. So what we're going to do is track that down. It says name album not defined. Also, we probably want to do some aesthetics here. Santana. We know that it's by Santana. Maybe we should do it more like we have the books formatted, just to make it a little nicer looking. Not necessary, but might as well make it nicer looking. And if we look here, we have album. We need to figure out where that is and remove it, because that's not correct. Okay, this time it should run. We can, next time we're in objects, make the change I was talking about for presenting it more like a book. Saying by whatever artist. There's Santana, whether it's the Rolling Stones or whoever it is. So let's run this. Pick Santana, and there we go. We have the name. We do have some else we're going to have to change here. As you notice, we're still showing year here under the product data, and we really want it to so everything else is right with format, discount, price, name is right, but we're saying year, but it's really artist. So continue no. Okay, there we go. Let's get this fixed. Okay, so now that says artist. Let's line this up so we get everything nice and aligned in our output. And let's save this. Save. Let's run again. This time around it's looking a lot better. This is something that is that we can turn in. Exit out of here, so looks good. Now we need to move on to the next step. And it looks like the next step is they want us to add another class, a media class. And this class should inherit the product class. They want us to add a format attribute to the product class and modify. Then they want us to modify movie, book, and album classes. So they inherit media class, not the product class. Okay. So that seems like a pretty good idea. It's like a further subdivision of the classes, because I mean, if we were to have a lot of products, more than just just in this example, that would be a really probably good idea, because certain things like media might have some really similar elements, but other things, like I think it was a hammer or tools, appliances or whatever, might have it'd be very, very different. So what we're going to do is need to add the media class and then make some changes. The book supplies us with a little kind of a hierarchy of the classes, the parent class and the child class, that we can kind of look at why we add the. Okay, let's get to adding the media class in here. We're just going to do a little copying over here. Okay. So we're going to modify the book class, rename it media, and eventually we're going to have all the media inherit. Down there, it's kind of like a daisy chain of inheritance. We have products, then media inherits from product, and then we're going to have book, movie and album inherit from the media. So we're going to eventually change in here and have them, instead of inheriting directly from the product, they're going to inherit from media. But before we do that, let's make media class here. So let's look at that, and you can see that we were big on copying. Well, this should be unique to just the book class, and we copied from that. So the format will be there. We're going to keep that in the media class because all media has that format, and that's probably the main reason that they had us add this class, because format is some that all of these book, album, and movie will need. So we're going to leave the format there. Let's look over here. Self name, price, discount percentage. Oh, we're not going to need that right there. Let's go down. The author's going to go out of there. Okay. So we get that there, and we're not going to really inherit that, so we don't need it, although we could put that there. I'm not sure if it's era. Okay. Looking good so far. Let's go get description. Well, we won't have the buy in there because that's more like what we're doing for just the books. So we will put a dash in there, kind of make it a universal. Okay. So now we have this with format, and we're going to have the book just inherit directly from the media. And let's give another quick look at the book, and that should be mostly fine. Well, we shouldn't need this anymore, so we're gonna knock it out of there because we're gonna inherit that. So we don't need to redefine it there. So let's knock that out. And let's change this to media also. Media. I'm going to go down here. Why I have it at hand. I'm going to put it every place it needs to be. Okay. So now we're to movie, and we know we can knock out the format because the main thing and the root of the reason they asked us to do it is because we're just going to have it in in format, just inherit it kind of across the board here. To do that, let's look over here and make sure the movie has everything that we expect it to have, and then basically it does. And let's go over here, and that should be pretty much the same. Knock that out of there. Okay. I think that's looking okay. Let's save it. Let's go here. See what the book says. Turn page. In the product viewer file, modify the code that displays the products, so it only displays the format attribute for media objects. Okay. Let's see if we have that. Here, okay, let's put in another if over here. So let's just copy one of these here. Okay, so it's looking like we need another if, and I'm going to put it right here. And this if is going to look for media. And we'll have format. And we will have to say format there. Okay. That looks good. It determines if it's inherited media, but since you were doing this, we don't want to repeat. If you look above here, you can see we're doing format here. We no longer need this, or should no longer need this. So let's blow it out. Okay. Okay, so we saved a little code here, and like I said, if we were just talking this, I mean these are samples in the exercises, and doing this, adding the media would be, in my opinion, a total waste of time if we're just sticking to the little ones in our sample. Cutting down here. But in reality, in an actual business world, when you might have, you're like an Amazon or something with a gazillion things, anything that can be saved with object-oriented programming is wonderful because it compounds itself. In the sample, they're having us, oh, we saved a couple lines we had to do here, but very different when you're talking a large company or even a medium-sized company or even possibly even a website, depending on how you're doing it, or a small website. You save a lot of time with this. So we made our changes. Let's see if it runs. Oh, let's get test. Oh, no syntax issues thus far. Man, let's go for the Holy Grail. Oop, that's number 3. And we crash. Okay. So it's saying media not defined. Let's go check this out. Okay. So open this side by side. It might help us in our checking out of things. Okay, so we pull it up side by side. And Holy Grail was a movie. Okay, we're doing our side by side look. Everything looks good here. Over here, it doesn't look so good. Let's add media to here. Paste. Okay. This might have a better chance of working. So we didn't import the media object. We're going to run. And we're going to go Holy Grail again. That was no good. Let's peek in there and make sure we inherited everything that we need to do. Okay, so I'm going to do a side by side. I like to do this when we have a couple pieces of code that we're working with. Okay, so it definitely appears to be where we're defining our classes. So I'd look up here again. I'll have this here. This is not causing an error. That's actually just unnecessary. But if I go here, I notice that we have product here, and originally they inherited directly from the product, but what has happened now is we put we have the inheritance a little different, and they're inheriting from media, so we need to update that, because what appears to be occurring is they're not getting everything from media correctly. So let's give this a whirl. I think that's our issue. And this. We're going to go for the Holy Grail. Okay, that is nice. It is looking much better. Out of here, let's change the spacing here. We want to make things look good before we hand it in. That should do it. We're gonna run. We did a classic movie last time. This time we will do some classic music, and it looks like we have it solved. Do a continue. We're gonna go 1. Okay. And you see no format there because it hits our conditional, the if, and understands that a hammer is not media because we didn't inherit for media, so we don't print format for the hammer. And it looks like our assignment is complete and ready to hand in.